What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Ra. You know him as Kimo. So do I, because his name is Kimo. Yes, that's it. That's all I have to say. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Oranos. He's calling himself Ebb on Voobly, but he is also known as Mickey Hay. Swedish boy from the land of IKEA. You want to go and buy some nice furniture, you talk to Mr. Mickey Hay, and he'll hook you up. He's going in with Oranos. In this game, we have the map Frozen Wastes. No one's observed this game, so we have to deal with the limited observer features that a 2003 game provides us. But considering what we have, it's pretty good. I mean, if you go and look at even the most modern releases of RTS games, you can see things like not being able to view the map when the game finishes. Like the post game's pretty lackluster. The UI just not very. There's some real. This is pretty good. This is maybe something to learn from here. No sledges anyway, guys. Anyways, we've got an interesting matchup here, and part of the reason I wanted to watch this matchup was just to see how Kimo is approaching Ra versus Oranos on an open map like Frozen Waste, where things can be really, really difficult. Now, Ra does get himself access to 2 home medium gold mines, which makes things very, very rough for Oranos in terms of finishing the game. So the aim here for the Oranos player is generally not to try and finish the game early here. You're trying to finish the game maybe on the second gold mine, because you know that there's going to be gold on the top side that your Ra is going to go for and on the bottom side. Now, first things first here, what I would be thinking here for the Oranos player is which town center is the town center of which my opponent is going to go get. So what I need to do here is I need to send early oracles onto both of these town centers on this map, maybe on other maps as well, but onto these town centers nice and early. Let that natural scouting thing happen, and then you get to see which town center is the better town center, and we need to put every effort into denying that town center. We don't care if your opponent gets the other town center, it's this one that matters. So the town center which is obviously better is this town center, because there is a gold mine here, which is very close, very easy to defend. So if Kimo gets this town center, things are going to be really, really tough here for Mr. Mickey Hay. So he needs to make sure he figures this out, and unfortunately, he's not done that early. He's checking out the temple and everything else with these oracles, and we'll see what's going to happen. Sometimes you can get away with this and deny this town center somewhat. Now, we also have a bit of an awkward map here, I would say, for Mickey Hay. He doesn't have all the food in his base. His caribou kind of been exhausted, and he's actually on goats right now. He should still be able to get his 330. Still very important to get that and put the pressure on. The question is going to be, at what point is Kimo getting to the next age? And he is doing a very, very well executed 1 monument temple build. No wood income here, so it's very, very stock standard. And he's on a second food source, so this all makes very much sense. It seems like I don't actually see what he did, but it does seem like he didn't have to put more than 1 villager on this temple, so he gets a lot more resources in the bank, and he will be able to get this town center up very, very fast if he wants to. Now, Mickey Hay does have some opportunity here to deny this. So we'll see if he's going to be on that one or not at this point. Let's check out his oracles. He's got 1 over here. He sees the gold mine. So he's got to know this is the town center to deny, if there is a town center possibility of denying this. So we'll see how that's going to go. And he needs to move his oracles around. Now, Kimo doesn't necessarily have to go for a second town center here, but it's in Kimo's play style to go for this. And you can definitely gauge that he is doing this by the 9 villages on gold and everything else going on here. So we'll see how this is going to go. Tar comes through with Prometheus, as Kimo has already moved on over to this town center with 7 villages. This makes it very, very tough to deny this town center. So Kimo playing this very smart, 7 villages here. The Promethean too far away. Maybe if Mickey Hay had come up at 4 minutes here on this map, might actually be a good idea if you have the food to go 4 minutes to try and deny this. You get your Promethean in there. You probably even be able to get a Mamilla or Terma by the time this is going up onto this location. You could definitely attempt to deny it, but with Mickey Hay going so slow, he's going double counter barracks here. This is completely stock standard in this matchup, which then also begs the question as to maybe it is worth it to go for that 4 minute, because there's not really that much of an advantage to going for a 430 anyways, because you're still just going double Terma. So this is really just the extra citizen is really just slowing you down a bit. So maybe, just maybe, we can talk about it after we see how this game's going to go. Maybe, just maybe, our 4 minute build here for Oranos is actually the way to go. Now, we have Kimo already onto his wood. He's gearing up to get himself Shadoof and everything else. We already see a big box getting built here. This is a lot of gold from Kimo. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I feel like you should be using the temple as part of your as part of your wall. This is going to save you, how much is this? At least 15 gold, because it's one side, and you can build the wall, and you can build the wall, and you can build the wall, and then you shift into that box nice and easily. Kimo's making this big box here to make sure that he gets all the units, but it does take a very long time to build this, and I don't think it's hyper efficient at all. So if your plan is to use shifting sands in that way, I definitely think you could either use this location here, wall across, wall that way upwards and back, or use the temple, or even use the town center to some degree as an option. You could build I think you can build walls in here. No, you can't. You can build a house or two off there. But anyways, we've got the Terma now coming in. They are looking like they might get a villager kill or two. The Promethean getting picked off for free here, and Kimo does end up losing one villager. Maybe going to be losing a second one here as well, as the villager does fall. And that's a big pick there from Mickey Hay. So nice play thus far. Kimo, he's not going to be too upset about that. He's generally losing villagers in this matchup is kind of a necessity. A lot of the time, if you aren't able to completely wall up nice and early on this map, always going to be losing some, but you probably could have brought those back closer to home, as we are seeing the farms coming up right now. Kimo's got himself just Shadoof. I do not see Plow or Husbandry, but they are both getting researched, so no problems there. And now we see the farms coming up. And this is where the Oranos strategy comes in, where he comes in and he's going to just sit under this town center and deny these farms from getting any sort of gather rate. And you can get a lot of value out of this. What Kimo needs to do is put his Pharaoh onto this town center in order to get the double arrows fired on this, and we will be seeing that rain coming through very shortly here as the villagers getting pulled off of the wood. In fact, will get taken out there. Another villager kill here, as Kimo is suffering a lot by not building any units in this matchup. The rain's still not getting thrown down. The town center is getting a lot of damage done. We see the shifting sands, and he misses. He misses. He gets only 2 Terma here, so this is absolutely huge for Mickey Hay. He has to retreat his Terma over here. The rain does get cast here, and Mickey Hay's got a very nice advantage. He's currently building his second town center, going in with his third town center very shortly after here. Now, his next step in this game is obviously keep building those units now, but maybe the best way forward here is to simply just rush Titan as the only real way forward in this matchup, because the gold mine's here, the gold mine's here, the gold mine's here. So you still want to keep putting pressure on, but you definitely want to consider taking this down the Army Corps route, I would say. And that then means that Kimo needs to be thinking, well, if the only way that I really lose this game is going to be through Titan, he's going to have to think about how he's going to get his own Titan out. And we are seeing Segment here, which I actually think is a really clever really clever kind of innovation that I saw Chrono JJ doing, but I'm not sure he did it. He didn't actually do it on purpose. I'll have you know, he definitely came up with this in a bit of a strange way. Like he's kind of just goes Segment because he wants to. But the idea of Segment in this matchup is actually not to use the Scarab for anything. The idea is to hold the Scarab in your base to counter Tartarian Gate, which is really smart, which then means that the Oranos player needs to hold on to either Trader or get that Lampede to come forward and get the conversion there onto that Scarab. So you have to be hyper aware of that. So very smart from Kimo. You don't get a whole lot of value out of Hathor in this matchup, though maybe you can make the argument that it is completely worth it for Medjai, but we'll see how it's all going to go. Now, Ebb here, 3 town centers, still making his Terma. At this point, you probably don't need to be making that many Terma anymore. You might want to, just in case the Oranos player the Ra player makes Chariot Archers, as we see the Citadel Center coming up. That's going to increase the amount of damage by quite a lot, as we see a big shockwave getting thrown down here. 1 villager going down, 2 villagers will be going down. We do see Skin of the Rhino, so these villagers will live for quite some time. And Kimo is taking so much damage here from these few Terma here. Mickey Hay just needs to have a transition here. He needs to make sure that he is continuing well into this game. Now, one option here is maybe you don't need to build so many units. It's like you've got pretty safe resources, so long as you're sitting on your resources nicely. You've got these walrus here. There's a world in which Mickey might just be able to go to the heroic age and go straight into Arcus Destroyer instead of wasting all the resources on Term here, as we are seeing the stock standard cavalry coming out, as we're seeing more villagers getting sniped down. He's going to keep sending these units in. I guess as soon as you can see that you've got some sort of an advantage in terms of building your units, some reason to build your units, you should keep building units. So he's making a good choice here to keep putting the pressure on now. It's looking as if Kimo is trying his darnest to get to the Mythic Age. He's got a lot of villagers currently on wood, so I'm not sure what he's doing with that, trying to build the siege works, maybe making some of those dastardly siege towers to try and counter those Terma a little bit. So we'll see how it's all going to go as the Promethean are wandering in here, and the siege works gets denied. And now more villagers coming out for Mickey Hay. A couple of these military barracks coming down as well. I like those. As you can see, the cavalry chariot archers coming out. You can just send the Promethean forward, but I feel like you just let this happen. Make sure all your villagers are safe. Whenever I see someone trying to raid an Oranos player, I just go, well, I can just push harder in onto the Ra player instead of trying to defend. We see town center going up when it never should have happened. For some reason, Mickey Hay not having an eye on this town center with the Oracle. Big mistake here. Town center goes up. Oracle should have been spotting that, and he should have denied that one for sure. But Kimo gets himself up to 3 town centers. He's going to be very, very happy with that. The army of Kimo looking in here now, seeing what he can do. If we actually check out Kimo, look at this. Like I said, Scarab in the temple, just waiting. It's 5 population, but you do have that citadel, so kind of makes up for it all. So we are seeing the army going to turn around, pick off some units here, which is another little bit of value that Kimo's going to be able to get from this raid. We are seeing the Terma circling over onto this location as the Migdol stronghold is going up. There's not going to be any denying of this Migdol stronghold at the time being here. Kimo's 111 population. Mickey Hay is 125 population going up through Thea. He's stopped villager production, or is that full villager count? I never can tell which one it is. It is 12 minutes in with 3 town centers, so it's probably full villager production here. So we'll see what he wants to do here. So he can, obviously, he's got a couple of options here. He can either go to the Mythic Age straight away, keep that 20-25 population spare, not waste the resources, just go there. He can throw up Palace, more military barracks, and make Destroyer Arcus here and try and make a big push happen. Don't think that's as safe, but I do think that there's a world where we're just getting full population here, keep putting the pressure on, multiple different locations, keep the Ra on the back foot going. Mythic Age could be a good idea. But at this point, not happening, and Kimo's got to be kind of happy. He's gotten 3 town centers. He's gotten his gold mine. He's gotten everything set up. He's in a very, very good position here to simply hold whatever the Oranos player is going to throw at him. Now, what, as another option, which I haven't talked about just yet, is the idea of maybe just trying to rush through Vortex, Helios, not going through Hecate here. Because if you can pressure this location here with your army and Vortex up to here, take out this town center, take out this Migdol, take this town center for yourself, you could be in a really, really good position here. So we'll see if that's what Ebb wants to try. The market is going up as he's trying to get to the next age, and I would be surprised if we see Helios because it's so early, but he is going through Hecate, so there isn't a whole lot of surprise there, but We'll see if he's going to be ready. He did go through Thea, so no chaos. So he needs to get the Lampede in position to deal with the Scarab. As Kimo is trying to get to the Mythic Age right now. Look at all of that wood here. He's got so much wood in the bank. Trying to get himself fortified towns, and he's throwing down the buildings over here. Barracks, siege works. Just playing slow and methodically, taking complete abuse of his god's strengths. We see the cavalry trying to take out those Prometheans there, but not doing the best job. And now the cavalry chariot is just still looking for some braids. Still Kimo not actually touching Mickey Hayes' economy here. He's got good upgrades on his units, on his villages. He's got himself shaft mine. He's got himself plow. He's got himself hand axe. I do think that he should be considering investing into irrigation as soon as possible, but very, very low on the unit. Contarius here makes zero sense. I don't like Contarius in this matchup. I do think that they have their own little purpose, but just Destroyer Arcus can be so strong against the Cavalry Chariot Archer army. But the problem here is this timing that Mickey Hay is trying to hit is all off. He's only at 110 population. The Mythic Age is going to hit. He needs to be 145 of 145 population here to make this Tartarian Gate timing actually do something. So we'll see how it's going to go as we see the siege towers coming out. Barracks just hitting everything, kind of doing his thing. You see the Hecate does pop. The Contarius, heavy Contarius is coming in. We'll see where he wants to throw that Tartarian Gate down. We'll chunk this one off. We are seeing the raids coming in. Big shockwave here. One citizen has fallen. Maybe two will go down as the citizen were not close enough to this manor here. Contarius does come in. There's the Tartarian Gate. Where is that Scarab coming straight in? I love that play so much. And then the Pharaoh is here to clean this up. This is perfectly defended. This is perfectly metagame. And Kimo immediately starts researching secrets of the Titans. This is just incredibly well played by Kimo. In every single way, shape, or form. Secrets of the Titans comes through. The pressure was put on, pushed back. Kimo has barely lost any units in this game. He's lost a lot of villages, but it hasn't really done all too much to really hinder Kimo's economy. The Tartarian Gate gets immediately dealt with there. The Tartarian spawns do nothing. Son of Osiris is out. 163 of 170 population to Eb's 144 of 145 population. An incredibly well-played game here from Kimo. And a lot of this is, now we see siege towers coming in, big push up onto this location. The Son of Osiris making his way up here as well as the barracks going down. Ebb, his economy too weak right now to get himself any sort of siege to the Titans, and Kimo is just plowing ahead quite literally with flood control with this Titan Gate coming in. It's going to be a tough one here for Ebb to defend as the town center is also going down. Kimo's still got tons of resources in the bank. Everything does slow down when the Titan Gate gets chucked down because you have to put a couple of villages onto it. But right now, we're seeing these siege towers being almost too much for this town center. Ebb going to be losing his third town center, even with the palace up. This can be very, very bad. Secrets of the Titans has been researched now for Kimo. Titan Gate gets thrown down. This is going to be huge. This strategy here from Kimo has been incredibly well executed. Son of Osiris getting targeted down there by the heavy Argus, as we do see the siege tower picks up that Son of Osiris, bringing him to safety without having Hathor. Means no rock, means no easy security for that Son of Osiris, but you can just put a siege tower next to him and keep him alive for a very, very good amount of time. It's Kimo at the moment, lots of resources in the bank, not enough production. So we see the Son of Osiris getting pushed into the middle of the map here, or fight here, and he does end up falling. Nice pick there from Ebb, but this fight is far from over. Kimo 136 pop, Ebb 135 of 145 population. The Dryad's going to help out a ton here as we see the Lampade getting targeted down. The Stymphalian Bird also goes down. Lampade's special ability will get a little bit of damage done onto these units here, but it's more for the effects there than anything else, as we see the Mummy here able to take down a unit or two as a Hero Destroyer does get created. Town Center is on the way up. Halfway, though, could potentially be denied, and we still aren't seeing any attempt at a Titan here from Mickey Hay. So he's in a world of pain right now. He's in for a world of pain, I should say, as the Titan comes closer and closer to coming through. The Siege Tower will end up being able to at least get one shot onto this settlement, and maybe even 2 shots onto this settlement as the Contarios turn around. We see the Siege Tower does get taken down there. Siege Tower in the back here get taken down, as well as those Spearmen are getting cleaned up nicely here from Ebb, but Town Center still alive. I'm surprised to see no attempt at just a random catapult coming out, because that could be enough here to deny this Town Center for a very long time. But maybe Kimo doesn't care. He's just throwing units in. You even see some mercenary getting built, but these destroyers doing work here, tanking a lot at this point. But the question for Ebb is, how is he going to deal with a Titan? How is he going to deal with it? Indeed. We see the military barracks getting taken down as the siege towers are making their way in, and they barely get onto the town center yet again to deny this one. Kimo keeping Mickey Hay at bay right now, completely at bay right now, as the villager shanks away. And just beautiful, beautiful execution from Kimo. Ebb not making any effort to attack anywhere else. The gold mines are being expired up on this location. We're going to see some more Migdols coming up here as well, as still town center here for Ebb trying to come up. He's going to attempt to building block here to allow this town center to get up. I still think one lone catapult here, considering, I mean, they are heavy Contarios, but let's see how that's going to go. As we do see a shockwave coming in from Mickey, and he's just looking at that percent rising, and there's just nothing he can do. Which, I mean, all of this comes down to the conclusion that if you see Sekhmet, maybe, just maybe, don't go Hecate. Don't go Hecate. Vortex on this Titan Gate, Vortex on this Citadel Center. Once he takes this out with that big push, all these things could have been tried here from Mickey Hay, but he went for the Hecate, and now there's a Titan out, and Mickey Hay, he's getting his own Titan right now, so we'll see if he's going to get that up. It's going to be tough. Normally, if you've got the Titan age, by the time the Titan is out at about 20 to 30%, it's possible to body block, building block the Titan and get that one up. But if you haven't even started researching it, by the time the Titan is out, the Titan will be able to walk across the entire map and most of the time kill your Titan Gate. Mickey just about to get his town center back up. It's going to be close. The siege towers coming in right now for Kimo. It's gonna be close. He decides not to go in, or doesn't actually click in there just yet. And there's the town center up. We see the Titan for Kimo coming in, and there's the sad Titan Gate, as Mickey Hay says, nothing I can do. Chucks that one down and taps out in style, mind you. Love that one there from Mickey. Always hilarity with these Age of Mythology games for sure. Kimo, though, showing the way in this matchup. Absolutely love the Sekhmet pick. Giving him an extra 10 population is huge. Giving himself that Scarab, free Scarab to deal with the Tartarian Gate is huge. But then you have to ask yourself, what are the weaknesses of this build? The weaknesses are 1, no rock. The weaknesses are 2, no Magi. So all of the big bonuses of the late game Ra kind of get thrown out the window. If you can take down a Citadel at least once, then the entirety of Sekhmet goes down the window. So down the toilet, that's out the window. So I actually think of the things, well, we can just go through this because this felt like an incredibly well-played game from Kimo. But of the things that maybe an Oranos player might want to consider here in this matchup is maybe a 4-minute advance, or the 355 with no hunting dogs if the map doesn't allow for it. So you got to work out those food rates, how much food you need to get a 4-minute advance time, whether you can get hunting dogs or not on those things. That's important for one. Second most important thing here is oracles onto both of the town centers that your Ra player has to see which town center is more likely to be grabbed, so that you can put complete pressure onto that and make sure at the very least you get the early shifting sands, because that would be huge. This town center goes up and then you can do everything else like that. So those two things might want to consider trying here in this matchup, just to give yourself a little bit more of an early game edge. If we take a look at the post game right now and we see the resource total, this is not something that you want to see very often. The resource line here a little bit too close in terms of advantage here. Normally you see the Oranos with a big advantage in this matchup, but because it's Ra, it doesn't quite go that way. If we take a look at the civilian units, yeah, the damage was down a little bit, but the civilian units just kept going up nice and slowly. And then you can see once the citizens stop going up here for Mickey Hay, that's roughly when the resources stop being at an advantage for him. You can see 26 civilian units here. And if we come over here and we take a quick look at the resource count, it's at 1150. Resource count at 1150 is when he's at his max advantage. Right here is max advantage, like 12 minutes in. And then it gets completely shut down and Kimo overtakes. So one of the things here that would help out just that little bit more, giving him that little bit more resource, is making sure he gets his valors onto these hero citizen. Now, he does have 3 hero citizen here, but only 26 citizen means he's missing 3 or 2 citizen, right? So he should be on 27, which is like missing 6 villages-ish. So that's really important as well. I'm not sure where those citizen really went in the end of the game here, but definitely need to get up to those max citizen and be okay. And then finally, the difference between Hecate and a good Hecate and a good timing is, well, if you're going Hecate, you need to make sure that once you place the Tartarian Gate, you have some way to pressure another area, because your opponent has to react to the Tartarian Gate or it does a lot of damage. So had we had a better timing here on this town center with Destroyer, with Arcus, it would have been better. Alternatively, going through Helios, and then you don't have to worry about that timing. You can get out the much more superior units, the Hecagigantes, the Destroyers, and then you can go in for an attack on one of these locations, Vortex onto the other one. It all kind of does itself. That seems to be the advantages here that you can try to go for. But I mean, Kimo played this one incredibly well. GG, well played. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.